Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
So here's Imperial on the left and the redesigned Imperial 2030 over here to the right. The first thing you can tell is the boxes are a little bit different, as one is printed long, the other one is vertical and horizontal, but they are exactly the same size. Just kind of know that. Although the printing would lead you to believe that maybe something a little bit different going on in here. This one's going to have a different little theme to it. This one's going to be 2030. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more modern, or in the future, if you will. We'll take a look at this as you open it up. So here are the rule books. You can see it looks very similar as you're opening up. The table of contents, you have the game board. You can see here you have the game board attached to it. So they're going to be very, very similar as you go through. Not a whole lot of differences. There's a little bit of rule tweaks in the new one, but nothing substantial. For the most part, it's a different map and a different... for most intents and purposes, it's the same game. All right, so I turned 2030 up and down. So this is 2030. This is the Imperial one. As you can see, the inserts, or lack thereof, is the same. Okay, in both sets, you're going to get paper money. Imperial's up here. You can see that it has a little bit bigger, a little bit different size to it, but it's still paper money in both aspects. So in this hand over here is Imperial 2030. In this hand, you're going to have the original Imperial. You can see the pieces are a little bit chunkier here. Here's the Imperial piece, as you can see here. A little bit larger than what you're going to have in this one. So this is going to be a little bit smaller of the pieces, but otherwise they're all just big wooden block pieces, kind of etched out. Not a huge dissimilarity here. You have the American flags here in this one that you'll be putting out on the board, but not a huge difference versus the circular wood. It's a wash if you ask me. So here are the different player aids. This is Imperial 2030 with a little bit more color on it, where the original Imperial is kind of less flashy, if you will. This is going to jump out a lot more for you. But as you can see, factory, production, import, maneuver, investor, taxation, pretty much all of the same actions that you'll be taking. There's slight deviations, very slight, if anything at all, but you can see the differences there in the player aids. So this is Imperial 2030. You can see the pieces here are made out of wood, and here is Imperial. You can tell the Imperial pieces are just a slight larger in size than it would be for Imperial. You can kind of see them here, and that's kind of one of the main differences is everywhere you look, the Imperial one is just a tad bit larger. Not sure that's enough to warrant making a decision based on it, but you can see they're just a little bit bigger. And then you have the shareholders that represent the different investments in the country. You can tell that the 2030 is much smaller than what you're going to get with Imperial. And that's kind of one of the big things overall, that the Imperial just has larger pieces. All the information is on there. I don't see a huge difference in this informational-wise, but the size difference, the quality, it looks like the same thickness, etc. The regular Imperial is just larger. So here's the board for Imperial 2030. You're going to see the global. You're going to have the little rondelle over here and the different places for the countries across the bottom. And you're going to see a lot of open space here. But you can see delineation from the lines and where things will be the starting rotations. And this is more a map of the entire world. Now here's the map for Imperial. I'm putting it down like this so you can see the difference in size. They're going to be exactly the same size. I don't see any difference. The locations and stuff is a little bit different. You got the countries across the side. This one's going to be a little bit tighter of a map. People have commented on that. And you're going to have your rondelle up here with the same. Everything else is the same. Really, it's just a different map. You still have the scoring mechanism. One was across the top, one's across the bottom. Same size. Even though this has larger pieces for the components, the map isn't any larger. So component-wise, they're very similar. This map, I'm told, is a little bit tighter. I've played both minimally. I wouldn't call myself an expert. It's a little bit tighter of a map because you're just kind of in Europe, where this opens up the world. Now, thematically, I probably like this one better. I like the idea of overtaking the world, the globalization of that, and it just fits in better with the kind of game that I like. Now, this one was printed first, and then this one, has some rule tweaks that people tend to like. Of course, your playing style is so individualized, it may differ, but a lot of people like the upgrades. You have one less factory, you're going after things, the map's a little bit more open. The tighter map is a little bit here. Now you can buy this with an upgrade so you can play both on this. I'm not sure you could go back on this one because the map would be different, but the map is going to be the big difference between these two. I find the rules to be minimal between them, although this one is more streamlined, a little bit, probably, had years of this being out to fix this a little bit, and it had some small tweaks that you may or may not notice if you actually played the game, but the maps are different, and that's really the difference between the two. If I had to choose, I'm not keeping either. It's not a game that I can get to the table. It's just way too long for what I can get regularly on the table, but I think I would pick the 2030 version if it was up to me, but I'm not keeping either. So there you sit.